Hello and welcome to Board Game Inquisition, where we are fanatical about everything board games. We love to talk about the games in our collections and are firm believers in balanced reviews. Because after all, if I was just to sing every game's praises to you, it wouldn't make for much of a review. So today I'd like to talk to you about what's possibly the most over-the-top, the most outrageous game in our collection. So here's 5 things I think you should know about Millennium Blades. So how many of you are familiar with the term CCG, or collectible card game? You might know about games such as Magic the Gathering, in which people acquire cards, they build decks, and then play against opponents using these decks. Well, that's what Millennium Blades is all about. Millennium Blades from Level 99 Games invites 2 to 5 players to take on the role of a CCG player, in which you do exactly what a real player would do. You acquire cards, you build decks, and you go to tournaments. So this game will probably appeal to people who are already familiar with the CCG scene, or indeed those who've always been eager to try it out without having to invest a ton of money in buying new cards. What Millennium Blades is really all about is taking on the trials and tribulations of a card gamer. So during the game you have to partake in 2 tournaments, and the winner is the person who has the most stars from both of these tournaments. So of course you're going to want to build the best deck you can to acquire as many stars as possible. So in between the tournaments there are deck building rounds. Now you start the game with a starter deck, some booster packs and some cash. And you can use these to acquire other cards, such as buying them from the shop, and there's a large shop, you can buy further booster packs. You can trade cards with other players, and you can also sell cards for straight up cash. The game also supplies you with extra cards at different points while assembling your deck. Now the key to Millennium Blades, however, is the fact that you have to evaluate these cards in real time and try and build a deck that synergizes together and of course defeats your opponent. As for similar games, it is a very unique concept of role-playing a gamer while still being a gamer. It's a little bit of Inception, a game inside a game perhaps. The closest thing I could think that mimics it is something like Captain Sonar, but Captain Sonar doesn't really allow you to explore the full game as a whole, whereas Millennium Blades is very aware that you are playing a game while playing a game, and likes to laugh at itself and enjoy and revel in this entire experience. Setting up Millennium Blades is straightforward, albeit a little bit fiddly. To set up the shop you have to take cards from a variety of different expansions and shuffle them together to make a pile. Actually probably teardown takes longer from having to return the cards, especially if you've organised them back into the box. I do enjoy the player mats. I am a bit of a stickler for those. I like the fact that it tells you what you should have at any one time on them and gives you spaces to put your cards and everything neatly in front of you. To play Millennium Blades you're talking minimum 40 minutes, and that's just from the deck building phase itself. The tournament never seems to take too long because you actually don't play that many cards in the tournament. So I want to say at least an hour for 2 players to play it, potentially more, and of course this increases with the number of players. It's a very replayable game. Like, I've played quite a bit of the base game at this point and I still don't feel like I've seen all of the cards. There's huge variety there, and then when you jump into all the expansions and extra promo cards that have been released, there really is kind of an endless supply of deck building possibilities. So aesthetically speaking, the game is clean and sharp, and if you enjoy anime artwork, well then of course you'll appreciate the sensibilities of Millennium Blades. Also, if you're familiar with any of the Indines characters from maybe the BattleCon universe or other Level 99 games, you'll see them reappear in Millennium Blades. What's special about Millennium Blades? I have to say its sense of humour. It really does poke fun at itself and at card gamers in general, which is kind of hilarious considering it wants you to take on the role of a card player. Its world isn't a serious one. A lot of effort I think has been put into it to make it light-hearted and enjoyable. Now even though I'm not up to date on all the most recent pop culture references and I don't understand a lot of the gags from all of the cards, there are plenty enough in there to entertain me, especially in the expansion set names or the quotes on the cards, or even the names of the characters themselves and how they interact. A lot of it's really light-hearted and fun, and references tons of other things. So how do I feel about Millennium Blades? Well, let's look at the negatives first. The main problem I have with Millennium Blades is it's not the type of game you can take down and play with just anybody. It really caters to CCG players. You have to be familiar with that world just to be able to understand how the game works and to get kind of the enjoyment out of how it's all put together. Secondly, the sheer mass of cards in the game is a little overwhelming, and I'm well familiar with CCGs and card games as a whole. The way in which you have to process so much information in a short amount of time not only makes it stressful, but almost takes away a little bit from the enjoyment. I kind of wish I had time to just sit down and read my cards and build a good deck. But that's not what Millennium Blades is about. It really wants to capture the fast-paced, fury-driven kind of madness that goes with collectible card games, in particular at tournaments. So now, the positive. Millennium Blades really captures what it feels like to be a collectible card gamer. Have you ever gone looking for a specific rare from your binder, from your shoebox, from your backpack, from your deck box, and found yourself surrounded by cards on the floor? Well, this is exactly what Millennium Blades presents you with. It really does capture that kind of driven and excitement that card games give you. Millennium Blades sets out to make you feel like a CCG player, and it really does nothing short of that. And this is part of the reason why we love the game so much in our house. Having played Magic the Gathering for many years and since giving it up, it really fills that itch for us, where it's almost as if, you know, we're buying new cards and we're building decks and we're at tournaments. It's a very special and unique experience, but I don't think it's one that's for everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to subscribe. That'd be pretty fantastic. Or if you like what we do, check out our website at boardgameinquisition.com. All games mentioned in this video will be linked in the description below in case you want to check those out. And until we meet again, I'll be here asking questions, playing games, and of course, collecting. Take care.